Well, we're back. We're back. It's time. It's been too long. It's nice to be back streaming again. Hello Bionicle. Good to see you. What's going on with the size of the text on the stream? That's it's very small. That is not how it's supposed to be. What? Hold on, let me see if I can fix that real quick, and while I do, I'll waffle for a little bit. Bang. Bigger font size. Let's go with like 45. I have a feeling that, yeah, that's deleted the message that was already there, but oh well. Yes, hi, we're back. It's been a little while. There's been a lot of stuff happening, mainly with like tile lands and videos and everything. The channel recently hit 1,000 subscribers, which is amazing. Thank you everybody who has subscribed so far and for joining on this journey, because it's coming good. Stuff is happening. And I'm really very excited for everything that's happening. I've got a new content plan, which is in my new Discord server, for which there is a link down in the description if you're not already a part of it. I do highly recommend you come and join. I'm going to be a lot more active in like content and posting stuff in there over the next month as things finally start to settle into place with the studio and how everything is planned out. But it's happening. Stuff is happening. Long and short of the new schedule is it'll be live stream every Thursday, 8 PM GMT, up until around, you know, 10ish GMT, I guess. Maybe not that long, maybe longer, depends how I'm feeling on the day, honestly, but it'll probably be at least an hour. And then every other week on a Saturday, there'll be a new YouTube video, which might be a devlog, it might be something about, you know, indie game dev as a YouTuber, or like just indie game dev stuff in general. Might be tips, might be tutorials. It'll just be new videos every Saturday. Not every Saturday, every other Saturday. That's the schedule. It has been a long time. It's been a very long time, but I'm glad to be back and I'm ready to jump straight into some good content, which today on stream we are implementing the most asked for feature probably in tile lands, which is a save system. And it was one that I wanted to put in, which if I mentioned this in the last video that I posted, if you haven't already seen that, I'll put a link in the description for that too, but that'll come later. So yeah, saving and loading is something that people really want, because especially when you get to the late game, it's really easy to build up engines that generate stuff like mad, and you don't particularly want to be like in a position where you're about to go crazy and you've got to walk away. So I've already done some of the foundations for this based on a video by Git-Amend, who, if you use Unity and you're not following Git-Amend on YouTube, what are you doing with your life? You need to go and follow this man, because he is amazing, makes fantastic content, and genuinely, like, I've learned so much just in the past month watching the type of stuff he's posting. So we'll do a walkthrough of that code. Full credit to him for the foundation for this. And then a lot of what we'll do today is actually putting the save system, integrating it with the game manager in tile lands, and tying in all of the unique data for the different quests and tiles that exist in the game, so that we can save and load them in production. So let's jump right into things, shall we? And I should explain as well, like, I might be clicking around a little bit more than usual, because we've been renovating our kitchen diner at the moment, which is awesome, very exciting, but it means that all the stuff that would usually be in the living room slash kitchen slash dining room is now in the office and the bedroom. So I'm working off the dining table with like no flooring in the kitchen living room, hence kitchen in the background, and not having my usual lighting and desk setup going. Although, to be fair, I quite like this camera angle. Yeah, something about it feels a little more nice, just like distance wise, than what I can get in the office. So we'll see. I might have a fiddle and move some stuff around. Anyway, let's jump in and talk about this. So I did already demo this in the Discord server, but just to show anyone who isn't in the Discord server who wants to see, and I want to make sure that I don't have the music volume turned up here. You know what, let me just turn this down a second as well, and then bring the whole volume up. OBS, because then we can probably hear, yeah, sound effects from the game. So over here we have this lovely game object called the save manager, and what I can do is go ahead and I could start a new game. You know, I could press play and it'll generate all the new game stuff. I get my tiles as usual and I can plonk stuff around. But I can also save and load a game. So I've already got a save file saved. I'm going to hit load, and you can see that's updated some values in here, and we've got like a whole bunch of stuff in this available building IDs list. There's a whole bunch of grid data here, and if I go now and restart the game, we should see my grid is now updated with all of these new tiles. I've got my 3 tiles left, and everything is there, which is really cool, because honestly, I thought this was going to be way harder than it was. It was still really damn hard to do, I'm not going to lie. But it's functional and we can do saving and loading. So let me tell you a little bit about how that works. Oh, Alan's here. G'day, mate. We're, you know, kitchen renovation still happening. There's no floor in the living room at the moment, and so all the furniture is in the office / the bedroom. Hence, I'm working out of the kitchen, which is actually kind of nice because the dining table is much deeper than my desk, so I've got like loads of space. But it does also mean that I've got like bad acoustics and bad lighting, and it's just it is easy to access snacks and milkshakes because, you know, we do love a good Nesquik milkshake. Oh dear. Right, I'm explaining save and load system. So I'm gonna start off with the back end, and again, this back end code is full credit to Git-Amend on YouTube. Fantastic stuff. And honestly, like a lot of this is kind of standard type stuff, but things like this seriable GUID class, which I'll talk about in a second, would not have thought about them, or wouldn't have figured out how to do them just by myself, at least without, like, you know, at least 3 times the effort of what I had to put in. So the core of what we have is this serialization manager, which basically is responsible for reading and writing data via a data contract serializer to a file, like writing it to a file and reading it out. Oh wait, am I lying? This might be... Yeah, no, I'm lying. That's an old class. Start again. We've got some serialization interfaces. So one for a serializer. This is the thing that handles, or the interface for a class that would handle the serializing and deserializing, aka taking a C# object and converting it to JSON and vice versa. And then there's the data service interface, which is creates the contract for a class that would implement functionality for saving, loading, deleting save files, and getting all the save files, hence the methods that we have listed here. So the implementation of that comes in the form of the JSON serializer, which, super simple, it just takes in an object of type T and returns a JSON string for that object converted using Unity's JSON utility class. And likewise, the deserialize method does the opposite. It takes in a JSON string and converts it to an object of type T and then returns that back. So that's like all the serialization stuff. It's actually pretty straightforward to read and write JSON to the system. The hard bit is where it all comes in when we're talking about actually what data structures we have or what data structures we are able to store, because there's certain things that you can't serialize. So over here, two little bits. We've got the file data service, which is implementing that iData service interface that I was talking about before, which has the methods for saving, loading, deleting, listing, save files on the system. And it's implementing it with a type of game data, which is another class that I've made, which just stores all of the data about a given game for Tilelands. So there's a name for what the save is, the game session, because eventually we might want to have it be the case that when we implement like challenge game modes, we want to name the save to be session data underscore weekly or session data underscore standard, that type of thing. The score data, so what the score for the session is, deck data, what cards you've got on your deck and how many are left, and then the grid data, which is everything about what's on the grid, what tiles are played, what quests exist, all that stuff. So our file data service is responsible for taking an object of type game data and then converting it between that object and a JSON object using our magical JSON serializer that we've passed in here, and then saving it as a file, savedata.tlsd for Tileland save data. And yeah, it just converts the whole object to a JSON string, writes it to a file at the persistent data path, and conversely, when you're loading data in, it just reads it back, converts it to an object, and passes that back as needed. So then the final piece to that puzzle is the save system class itself, and this is where a lot of the magic stuff is happening. So this is that class that sits on the save system object that I was pointing out in the scene. And the way this effectively works is we have a series of functions for making a new game, saving the game, loading a game, deleting a game. And these basically work more or less exactly in the way that we were talking about over in our file data service. When we make a new game, we just create a new instance of the game data class, nice and simple. When we want to save a game, we just make a call to our data service, call the save method and pass in that game data that we've got stored. And then when loading a game, we just do game data equals data service.load. And if the game data doesn't have a name, if we haven't given it a save yet, I'm just defaulting it to be the default save data file name at the moment. But like I say, that might change when we introduce more game modes like challenge modes and daily/weekly leaderboards. So another half of what we've got is these interfaces. There's an interface iSaveable, which is an interface that applies to any data type that we want to be able to serialize, or that we want to save in our JSON file. It simply defines a serializable GUID ID, which, for anyone who doesn't know, a GUID GUID is a unique generated like hash effectively. It's multiple parts, or it will be like a byte array. It's just a unique identifier for an object in a system, and so this serializable GUID is a class that Git-Amend made, which makes that GUID serializable in the Unity editor and as a serializable persistent thing to disk. So very helpful. And then the other part is this iBind, because this system uses data binding such that, you know, we just have this game data object, and the things that need to be bound or have data that's going to be saved, they bind themselves to it and just update it constantly as they go. And that way, whenever we call save game, the data is always up to date, and just very helpful. So we've got this iBind interface, which takes a type T data for type of data, where T data is iSaveable. So anything that implements this interface can be a type for this iBind interface, or an implementation of the iBind interface. And again, this has a serializable GUID ID along with a method bind for that data which we use to bind the data to the game object, so that there's constant update between that and the back end. Barnacle has been learning C# for 3.5 months and still don't understand any of this. Honestly, I've been doing it for 12 years. Alan, is it 12 years? I think it's 12 years. Don't stress it. it's, you know, it takes time. This stuff is it's deep, and you know, when you look at senior engineers or even midweight engineers who have been doing it like longer than I have in actual principle, it's, yeah, some of the stuff that people can do is insane. And Alan, what's wrong with the C# syntax? It's so good. It's like, it's just Java. It's no different, except kind of is a little nicer in my opinion, but maybe I'm biased because I've been using it for longer. Anyway, so the other bit that we've got for this save system is the bind method. So this is the kind of where the magic happens. This actually does the binding between a physical entity and a one of our serializable data types, or our isavable data types. So we pass in a type T and a type T data, where T is a mono behavior that is implementing the iBind interface with the same type of the data that we want to bind. And then T data is something that implements isavable but can also have, like, be made new. It has a constructor effectively, so it's got to be some implemented concrete class isavable. What we then do is find all of our objects in the scene which matches the type of the bindable behavior that we want, and grab the first one of it, because this is just for binding a single one of these. If that entity is not equal to null, we do a null check on the data, saying, you know, if this data that we've passed in is null, then we're going to set it to a new instance of that T data with a default ID that matches the ID of the entity that we've just found, and then we bind that entity to that new data instance. If the data already exists, we don't need to write anything new here, so this just gets ignored, and we just bind that entity to the data that we've already got on save. Nice and simple. I say nice and simple. It's not that simple, but it kind of is. It's just grab the object. If it's not null, we'll grab some data from save. If that data is null, we'll make some new data, and then we just bind the two together so that they're constantly updating each other. Or so that we update the entity with the initial save state, and then the entity updates the data continuously until we press the save button or until we quit. Same thing's going on with this method, only difference is that we can pass in a list of data. So it just grabs all of the entities of the given type, and then for each entity in that list, we grab a data. If the data is null, make it new, add it to our datas list, and then we bind the entities to that data in the same way that we did before. Underscores for private variables is so good. So, look, okay, fair. To be honest, most people don't do that. I only started doing it because, I don't even know why. I just was reading coding conventions for C# and I got sucked into it, and then, yeah, it's not great. It's not great. Yeah, here we go. Final bit of the save system then, and this actually is the final bit now, is just this init bindings. And I'm calling this on my game manager, which all this does is just go through and bind the score manager, player tile deck, and the grid manager to their respective data objects, using the, you know, whatever data we already have in the game data variable that we've got stored here. So that's like an initialization of a save, and like I say, we do that in the game manager, which I believe is under my core systems game manager. Yeah, just when we go into this handle game setup, first thing we do, save system.instance.init bindings, and that just makes sure all the data is populated and updated, and we can iterate or initialize everything else as we were before, which is very nice. And this took way too long. Probably took about 3 days to get to here because I had to restructure a whole bunch of stuff, mainly around that ID issue, and especially with the case of scriptable objects, because, and I've been talking for a long time and not writing any code, and also still my chat box is just not showing chat on the stream overlay, which is like, bro, please just show me my messages. Oh well, I'll figure it out one day. We'll get there. Click, there we go. So yeah, scriptable objects don't, or well, every object in Unity, so prefab, scriptable objects, all of that stuff, they all get given an instance ID at runtime. So when the Unity editor is started, or when the game build is started. Thing is, those aren't persistent, so if you restart the Unity editor or restart the app, that instance ID will change, because obviously it's a new instance whenever you restart the system. So it's yeah, it means that you can't use those as references for things. Originally, the save system was using those as references for things, so I'd set everything up, I had everything, and I was like, yeah, we're saving and loading, and then I restarted the Unity editor and I was getting loads of null pointer exceptions because it just couldn't load the data. So what we had to do instead, and I say we, I mean me, was go into things like my abstract quest and give them a serializable GUID, and then also add in this little button using Odin, which Odin Inspector, again, if you're a serious Unity dev and you don't have Odin, get Odin, just do it. It's almost always on sale, and it just makes editor tooling so much easier. So puts a button on everything where I can click that and it will just assign it a new GUID, and then rather than trying to call the objects directly or look to get an ID from the objects directly like that, we have a class called Quest Database, or Building Database, one for each, which just takes all of the data for the buildings, all of the quests, sticks them in a dictionary with the key for that being the serializable GUID that it has. And because that's a parameter or a variable on the object, it doesn't change, Unity doesn't change it, and we have no way of changing it at runtime, because it's just a get only field with a private setter. So, you know, jobs are good in there, and I can just make a call using this get building data by ID or get quest data by ID and passing in the serializable GUID. Hence, in stuff like my abstract quest, or in my grid tile, sorry, where I've got a list of data for what the grid tile has, we are storing a serializable GUID for its occupying building's ID, rather than storing a reference to the occupying building just on its own, because it means you get like a lot more, it's a lot more easy. Is this just my own CDI? What, context dependency injection? Is that the CDI that we're talking about? Because the answer is kind of yes, I think, but also kind of no. It's like basic level data binding, in the sense that when I load the game, it reads from, I mean, yeah, I guess kind of it is. It reads from the file, finds all objects that match a given type when you want to bind it, and then those objects themselves, so let's take a look actually at this bind method. It sets the store of the data in the physical game object, in the mono behavior, to be that data, updates any of the other respective stuff. Oh, that message has just come through, but it's massive. Streaming. Yeah, the binding stuff is kind of, it falls into the same ballpark, I think. And then it's just a case of like, yeah, we've got this data object, so everything can go through and just update that data object as it needs to. And likewise, then when we save the game, it's all already in the game data object that we've got. So effectively kind of works in a similar way. Great. So now what we actually have to do, the task that we're faced with here, is going through all of the different buildings and quests and putting yeah, the messages are huge. I've just made it smaller again. I think because it's using the same settings between the two, it's messing with things. I'm just gonna let it be, because Streamlabs is not my friend. So yeah, half an hour in, we're actually going to start writing some code. We've got loads of buildings and loads of quests which all have some unique data, and we need to set up the binding for those to actually populate their unique data. I've already done this with the farmhouse. So the way the farmhouse works is we're overriding this restore state function, which I've put on the abstract buildings and abstract quests, because they themselves don't need to be bound to anything, because we're not saving these objects explicitly. We're just saving like a list of building data in the grid tile. So it's kind of separate, but the restore state takes in some building data or some quest data in the case of quests and reinitializes that at a base level, but then we can also iterate over everything and handle setting our unique data, which I really hate how this works, because what I'm basically doing is storing a list of strings with like a custom key. It's like a custom key value setup where the key is a string and the value is a string, but then we pass that string to whatever it needs to be, and it's absolutely vile. But I couldn't really think of a better way to do it, because you can't serialize a dictionary. So I'd have to implement some custom serializer for the dictionary, and I'm lazy, so I couldn't be bothered. And B, you can't serialize object, so I couldn't have like a dictionary mapping a string to an object, because object may or may not be serializable. It could be anything, right? So the easiest way for me to do it, knowing that I'm only going to be using integers, booleans, or strings as the thing that I need to read, and knowing that generally it's not going to be more than like 5 things per building, I was just like, you know what, let's just store it all as strings. It's lightweight and technically not that error prone as long as I get my keys lined up correctly, which is why I'm using a constant for the different keys. So like the stock data key here is just a constant string current stock, so I'm never going to touch that anywhere. It's just a case of check the key. If it's the stock key, then we're going to update stock. And likewise, whenever we change stock in here, oh yeah, I don't actually have to do anything if I change stock in here, because it's all just it's already in the building data. Like that binding is done, so everything works. But yeah, that's our task for today, is to go through all the other buildings and quests and set up this restore state method on them so that it can iterate through and all its data. So where to begin, I say, where to begin? I think I probably am going to start with quests, because I can do all of the quests quite quickly. He says, touch wood, there aren't that many quests to go through, and most of them all just work on a base of the walking quest override. Moving entity quest, so this one here. And actually I don't think I need to do anything in this one, do I? No. Yeah, no, so I can leave that as is. What we'll want to do is go to things like our fish quest. Doesn't have any special behavior, just exists. So the hunger quest here, oh, actually, abstract quests do some base, like turn checking for how many turns it's been alive. So we're going to store this as well. And I'm actually going to add that as an additional item here in our data. So we'll have a public int turns active, like so. And then here we can also do turns active equals 0. Although I don't think we even need to do that actually, because it will be default value, which is great. So all I need to do here is actually, rather than just saying if data is null in an inline, I'm actually going to split it to two separate. So we're going to say if data is not null, we'll say data equals data and just return, because we don't need to do anything. Otherwise, wait, no, I'm lying. We do need to do something. If data is null, we're going to do that and then return. Otherwise, we'll say data equals data, and we will say our turns active is equal to data dot turns active. So that restores our state properly. And like I said before, anything with unique data will handle that all in our subclasses. So let's do that in our hunger quest. It doesn't actually have anything special that we need to store, which is fantastic. So nothing to do there. I think it'll be things like the barbarian and the villager. Although I don't think the villager will even have anything special about it. It should just be the barbarian and the pirate. Yeah, because expended is always going to be... Yeah. We don't have anything extra that we need to do there. Fantastic. That means it's just pirates and barbarians. I can hear the cat. Cool. So yeah, it'll be this pillaged count is the only thing that we're going to store here. So let's go ahead and override our restore state. Can I not override restore state? Is that going to be because it's not, like, it doesn't drill down? Do I have to do something stupid, like go into here and say, like, public override restore state? No. Oh, I haven't made it virtual. Duh. Leave that as is. Remove that from there. We need to go ahead and make this a virtual void, which means we can define a body, but we can also override it in subclasses. So then over here, I should be able to now do my override restore state. Yep, there we go. Do the base, and then we are going to for each over data dot, and this is data with a capital D, and I want to make sure that yeah, my data is public, so I should be able to access it in here. Yep, quest data dot unique data. What am I doing? For each var entry in data.unique data, we can do, we'll set up our key. I'll make it public. Public static const. I can't make it a const if it's static. Public const string pillage count key. Pillage count. If entry equals pillage count key. Then we'll say pillage count equals entry or int dot parse entry. Oh, what am I doing? Entry.key. Yeah, entry.key and entry.value. There we go. I just want to make sure that lines up with what I did in the farmhouse, because I have a feeling I probably want to do some checks to make sure that that actually exists. Farmhouse, there it is. Perhaps I don't need to. I don't think I do need to. Although I do think I want this to be capital D data, like so. Yeah, and then just in the update, we'll update our unique data with the bits that we need. Pillage count key, and this is going to be pillage count dot toString. Sweet, that's barbarian quests done. Pirates are going to be literally identical. In fact, I believe I don't even have, like, I'm not even using a separate class for the pirates in practice, because the code is exactly the same. I think the let me double check the prefab. Resources, quest prefabs, pirate ship. No, it is using pirate quest. Okay, alright. We'll go ahead and do our thing. I really don't think it needs it to be different though. I think the scripts are identical. So, you know, I'm tempted to actually just delete this and replace it on here, because it'll be a different instance, so it'll have a different instance ID. I'm not gonna mess with it right now. I'm gonna let it be, and I'm just gonna steal all this stuff. Copy, paste. Copy. Paste. And copy. Paste. Boom. And we now have all of our quests savable, which is fantastic. Now buildings. It's like the bit that I didn't want to do. It's gonna take so long. Oh, bruh. Have mercy. I don't need to do anything to these deprecated ones because they are old. Like it says, they're deprecated. We're not going to do anything with them. Barbarian Village has nothing special about it. City has nothing special about it. Abstract our factory does have some special stuff about it. But actually it doesn't have anything special that we need to store, so we can skip that. Farmhouse is done. Field, we do need to store some stuff. So fields are harvestable, and we track that using this harvest count, along with this bool rested. So let's make sure we save those so that it matches. And likewise, we'll want to make sure that we update our renderer for if it's harvested or not. So override, whoops, restore state, do our base, and then for each var entry in unique data with a capital D dot unique data. And the reason I'm doing it data with a capital D is because if we remember in our base, we've already set data to be the thing that's passed in, or a new instance if we don't have anything. So we don't need to, we don't want to be checking on the object that's passed in because it might be empty. Or like, you know, it really, it doesn't make any difference, but I want to check on the data that's already stored rather than the data that we've passed in. Because, you know, it's the same thing at this point. So let's go ahead and make ourselves some keys. Private const string harvest count key, harvest count, and then private const string rested key, rested. Hey, what are you doing? There we go. Yep, that's all we need to save. So we'll just do, let's do a switch on entry. If it's our harvest count key, we'll say harvest count equals entry dot value, and we're going to pass it to an int. And then we'll also case the other key rested. Then we'll say rested equals, is there a bool.pass? There is, amazing. Entry.value. And we'll also say our, because I believe, yeah, we harvest it, set rested to false, and that's where we then do our thing. Yeah, and there's no wait between turns for... Cool. So we can say rested equals that. Wheat renderer dot set active not rested. Oh wait, no, it will just be rested, won't it? And then we can break. Because yeah, when we go in and set rested to false, we're also setting our active thing to false. Likewise, when we set it to true, we set our wheat renderer to true. Cool. That's Wheatfield. Moving on. Oh wait, we still need to, we need to make sure that we're actually updating our data with the the things. So you know what I'm gonna do, because it's a bit more efficient, I'm gonna make a method private void update building data, and this is going to do our thing. We're going to say data dot unique data equals new list of unique building data, or is it unique data entry? I think it's unique data entry is what I called it. Yeah, unique data item. And in here we'll say new, and we're going to pass in our harvest key and the harvest count dot toString. And likewise we'll pass in our rested key and rested dot toString. And then rather than calling update, we'll just go in all of the places where we change this stuff. And we'll say update building data. Like so. That is field done. So I think the next one that's going to need updating is the forest. Yep, nothing to save on our fishing village. Forest, yeah, harvest count. We need to be keeping track of that. That was actually a really fun feature. I enjoyed adding the thing to make it so that the trees get cut down, and the amount of times you can harvest a forest is actually the same as the number of trees in the visual. So that's like a fun little hack for you there if you play the game. If you want to place things next to your lumber mills, try to place down forests that have more trees in them. It is a leap day, yeah, 29th of February. And actually, you know, I'm excited for the Olympics. I don't know about any of you guys, but I enjoy when the Olympics occur. It makes me go yes. Especially the martial arts. I really like watching the martial arts in the Olympics. Harvest count, restore data. Entry data dot unique data. If entry dot key equals our harvest key, then we'll say harvest count. And actually we're going to have to do this in some brackets because we'll have to activate the right number of trees. There, it is a funny phrase. That's probably made me chuckle. I enjoy when the Olympics again. You know, that's... Yeah, I'm gonna own it. Right, harvest count equals entry. It's going to be int.parse entry.value. And then we want to make sure we go through and disable renderers. Tree renderers.length -1. Yep, tree renderers harvest count .set active false. Ah, okay, so what we actually want to do is say var count down is this value. We should have already run this because of execution order, because we're restoring state later on than the awake. So I should be okay to go in here and basically say while our harvest count is greater than our countdown, do this. And that should be it. That should be it. The chat is working. It's doing things. It's who knows if it'll stay like that. I bet you if we switch back to the face cam screen, it's not going to be working anymore. It'll still be old and outdated. Nothing for lake, nothing for lighthouse. Lumber mill. Yes, lumber mill is going to need some updating. Lumber mill has a fair bit of data, so we need to store turn since activation. We need to store wood stock. Actually, that's it. That's it. Great. Let's make our constants. Private const string. I'm going to call it current cooldown key. Cooldown. And private const string woodstock key. Et voila. And then we'll come down here and we're going to do this similarly to the field, I think. So we'll override our restore state. Do a for each. No, not a for. I want a for each. Yep, for each entry in data dot unique data. Do ourselves a switch on entry dot key. Scroll down a bit so that we can see. Case cooldown. And case woodstock. So the woodstock is going to be a lot easier to do. What am I talking about? It's going to be exactly the same. It's just setting values to ints, I believe. So our is it the forest harvest cooldown? It's turn since activation, isn't it? Yeah. Is going to equal int.parse of entry.value. And our woodstock, just going to say stocked wood. Woodstock is equal to int.parse entry.value. Nice and simple. And then I also want to do an if check here. So if woodstock is greater than or equal to our wood reward threshold. I can't remember what I called it. There's a threshold or like a Oh no, don't tell me I've used a magic number. Oh my god, I've used a magic number. Guys. That's a sin right there. We're going to fix that. So we want a... Let's make it a serialized field. Serialized field private int. And this is going to be factory generation threshold. I'm going to set that equal to 10. And then we're going to use this here. And what I want to say is when we activate it, activate, yeah, if activatable, woodstock minus equals our factory threshold times charge to reward, and that's going to be woodstock divided by our factory threshold. Good, good. No magic numbers. We don't like magic numbers here. I am terrible. So yeah, we can say if our woodstock is greater than or equal to our factory threshold, we'll say smoke particle.play. Nope. Play. And then there is a bug here where we this just isn't doing. It's just not doing the thing. When you activate it, if activatable, reward the tiles, blah blah blah, wait for seconds, and then stop. It's not stopping for some reason, but I'm not here to fix that right now, so I'll look at it later. In the meantime, let's move on. Mountain. Yes, mountain is going to need some updating. So we need to save turns to rain toggle. That's it. That's it. We just need to save the turns to rain toggle. And I guess whether it's raining or not, yeah, if it is raining. So let's do a private const string rain turns remaining key. Rain turns remaining, and a private const string rain state key. Cool. Oh wait, did I feel like I've gone through a few of these and not actually remembered to update the data here. So let's actually make that happen. We're going to create our method public, not public, private void update building data. So this again is going to say data.unique build unique data equals new list. Played the game a while ago and found it very fun. Thank you. I'm glad. I'm really glad you enjoyed it. And honestly, I feel like whenever I say to people that like I'm happy or glad that they enjoyed things, I sound sarcastic, but genuinely, like, making games is a dream I've had since I was like 10 years old, 9 years old. So it really does, like, it means so much to know that people are playing this game and that they enjoy it and find it fun. That's it. Like, really, I can't express how glad I am for people being able to enjoy an experience that I've created. And hopefully, you know, this 2.0 update, which this save system is going to be a part of, just makes it even more fun, because there's a lot of feedback that I've had from people who have played the game on Steam, from the people who have played it on YouTube as well, feedback from Alexa, feedback from Real Civil Engineer, and yeah, it's just it. Like, I don't think it's still quite set in that this game is kind of doing stuff rather than just being the kind of throwaway, oh, I'm going to do it so that I've released something project that I had initially set out to create. So yeah, really, it does mean the world to everybody who supports the studio and who checks out the game and leaves feedback, even if it's negative, because I always want to be able to look for ways that I can improve as well. Right, after that ramble, let's go ahead and update our stuff that we've got in here. It's going to be new. We want to pass in our harvest count key, and we want it to be harvest count. Boom. Why are you... Did I not just import that? And I need to pass that to a string as well. There we go. And then whenever we do a harvest, let's make sure we go ahead and update our building data. Bada bing, bada boom. I think I'll do the same there, although that may well run me into problems. Although I think it needs to be done. Like, we need to set the initial state. Otherwise it's gonna be like it's not gonna work. Got to the point where half the board were tents. Nice. Yeah, that's quite funny. Was that the demo that you were playing in that case, or was it the like the barbarian tents that you had going on? Because originally in the demo we had the village with tent graphics, because I explained very poorly to Adele what the purpose of the cities was going to be, or the towns, like the villages upgrading to towns, upgrading to cities. So they were tents until, you know, for final release we updated it so that it was going good. On the demo, nice. Yeah. It changed a lot since the demo. There's it really, like, the introduction of all the... were the upgrade things in the demo? I don't think upgrades were even in the demo. Like, genuinely, it changed so much so quickly. And yeah, that was another thing that I talked about in my last video, actually, about, you know, kind of how Tireland started and how it became what it is today. Which, it was really interesting, actually, going back and watching through all the old footage that I had of different iterations for things, because it really did change a lot. Like, it was this 3D isometric kind of cool looking Tetris game, if I do say so myself, and I kind of regret not sticking with that idea sometimes, because it was really cool. But hey ho, you know, what came out is still pretty awesome. So I'm not going to complain too much. I can just reuse the idea later. Mountains. Private void. Update building data. Do the same thing here. I think I'm probably going to end up just like copy pasting this update building data, so I can say data dot unique data equals new list unique data item brackets, and we're going to say new rain state key is raining dot toString, and new rain turns raining turns to rain toggle dot toString. Vector art still looks cool. Made a little game thing. Oh! If you've made something, I want to see it. Please send a link in the Discord server if you're in there, or if you're not already, please join and let me see, because I love seeing like what you guys all create as well. It's super cool. And yeah, I love isometric as well. I'm actually like thinking for the next game that I want to start, as soon as, you know, as soon as I'm finished with Tirelands 2.0 update, I've got the next game that I want to work on, and I'm thinking of doing isometric 2D for that. So it's right up my street. I would love to see it. Ah, that's a shame. That's a shame. I mean, if you ever do make anything with it, do let me know. Do let me know, because I genuinely would love to see it. Oh no. Tried to play the demo, but the laptop struggles when you open Pixel Studio and Word at the same time. That's not ideal. I mean, hopefully it runs at least somewhat well, because it's not a very graphically intensive game. So if it's chugging, that means there's something in my code that I need to work on, because that will be where the issues are coming in. Cool. Let's do a switch again. We're going to switch on entry. Nope, not enabled. Entry dot key. And, you know, I'm sat here being someone who's like a massive advocate for good coding practice and all that kind of fun stuff. Switch cases are like awful code smells in most situations. Usually when used in tandem with enums, because, you know, if you want to add new stuff to the enum, you've got to add new stuff to the switch statement, and it just like it's terrible code smells. But I think there's a lot to be said for the architecture of Tilelands in terms of how kind of jank it is. And I didn't really think about the architecture up front too much, because it was very much the case that I was like, I'm going to prototype something, and then I prototyped Tilelands, and then I was like, I'm going to make it into a real game now. And I just kept it all the same. So it's like, yeah, there's bits that I can't really think of better ways to do them without just fully rewriting the game from scratch, and we're not going to do that. We're not going to rewrite the game from scratch. Right, so rain turns remaining. Syntax, please. Semicolon. Full colon. I'm going to just put my cases in first, and then I'm going to sort out what they actually do. So, with rain turns remaining, we obviously want to set our turns to rain toggle equal to rain equals entry dot value, and we need to pass it to an integer. So int dot pass com ci com ça. And then we probably also want to do we probably also want to check to see if that's 0, so that it then flips back. Although actually, no, I don't think we need to worry about that, because it will just do it immediately on the next turn anyway. So I won't worry about that. I'm just going to do it in here. Is raining equals bool dot pass entry dot value. And I think what we can probably do is just do a similar thing to here, where we start the toggle rain coroutine. No, I don't think that's actually what we want to do. We just want to set is raining, and then we want to just set our rain color directly to whatever the target color would be, which is going to be this. If it's raining, it's white. If it's not, it's the rain color. Oh, and of course we want to set our particles. Boom. And finally, we want to call this update building data method. And we'll do that after we update the variable. So we won't wait, just so everything's in sync. Same here. When that decreases, we'll update here straight after we update. Cool. Cool. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Idea. Here's an idea. There could be different save slots, or just one maybe, and the icon is just a tile, but the tile gets better as you're... Oh, that would be cool. I quite like that, actually. Oh, yeah. So I imagine what I'll probably do is on the continue button, I might look to see if we can get some custom textures made that like line up with different buildings that scale in progression. So things like the temple, marshlands, oil rig, we could just have those backgrounds upgrade along with them. Yeah, I quite like the sound of that, and we'll have it based on what level you're on. Because actually, under the hood, that's how the game works. You have a level that you're at, and every time you level up, it literally increases that level by 1. And then the level is used to determine what the score threshold is going to be in the next round. So I can do some fun stuff with that. The problem is, at the moment, it's way too easy to level up really quick in the early game, because it's like you'll level up like 7 times in a row, like for 7 turns. You'll just level up each turn, and then you've got like 70 tiles stacked up in your deck, and then it starts getting hard. So you've got like this real big back catalogue of tiles to pad you out, but no real like strategy for progression. So I think there's going to be some sizable balancing and refactoring that will be done there. Yeah, and that's gonna sit in line with this 2.0 update as well, because there's a lot more tiles that we want to add, and a lot different functionality that we want to add to the late game tiles as well, like the temple. I really want to introduce aliens as a quest that they bring in, because everybody loves the conspiracy of aliens built the pyramids. I wanna put that in the game. I think that would be really fun. And yeah, stuff like the oil rig being able to produce fuel for your power stations as well. Marshlands generating stuff like fertilizer for the farms. There's loads of stuff that I want to introduce. Yeah, I'm really excited for all the kind of fun stuff there. I've just noticed my ocean here is, when it's doing its calculate score, it's literally just calculating the score. So I can actually delete that. Doesn't need it, because it's just doing the base behavior. It's so silly. I think we might be getting through this quicker than I anticipated. Don't need to do anything for park, don't need to do anything for pasture, nothing for pirate village, nothing for the power line. Power station. Yeah, we need to save the stocked coal there. Private constraint, stocked coal key. Oh my gosh, can't type. Do we need to... Yep, we also need to save the turn since last stock. Like that. Ah, yeah, stream chat has frozen. What did I say? What did I say, hey? I knew it was gonna break at some point. It may be. I wonder if it's actually... Let me check this. Yeah, it started updating the other one instead. That's so weird. So I don't think I can have 2 stream chats going, which is a bit annoying because... Oh, and there we go. It's just wiped the old one. Chatbox dev. Let me... This is so jank. Let me remove chatbox dev from here real quick, and I'm gonna add the normal chatbox. Widgets, chatbox, add sources, and we're gonna add chatbox. There it is. The problem is it's the wrong size for for the stream, but I think I can probably... Yeah, I can crop it. There we go. There we go. Make that line up, because I'm a perfectionist. Alright, I think we're back in business. How much longer will the stream be? Another 45 minutes-ish, I think. I basically want to go until I've done all of these buildings, was the plan for the stream. So if I blitz through them, because we've only got probably 1, 2, 3 more buildings to go. So actually, I think I can probably speed through that very quickly. In which case, yeah, we'll see. It might be 15 minutes, it might be 45. It will be no longer than 45 though, because it will be 10 p.m. by then, and I need to go and like have some food and sleep because I have to work tomorrow as normal. I'll go back to start another stream and wonder why the stream chat isn't frozen. It's just there now. Yeah, honestly, that's a blessing that I've actually stopped being a dummy and just cropped down the other chat, so now it should work perfectly fine. Honestly, I'm a dingus sometimes. And I think probably I want to shrink down the chat size a little more as well, so that it's not quite so big. But of course, doing that resets the chat. I really hate Streamlabs sometimes, but you know, we take those. Override, restore state for each var entry in data dot unique data switch entry dot key case cooldown key, can't type, break, and case stocked coal key, nay, stocked coal key break. So I think actually this is probably going to be pretty straightforward. It's just going to be the case of our turn since last restock equals int.parse entry.value. Yeah, it's because I shrunk down the size. Shrunk down. I decreased the size of the font. It wiped the chat completely, so it's going to update with the new. It's yeah. Streamlabs makes me angry. I think that's probably fine. Getting sleepy. And then stocked coal equals int.parse entry.value. Do I need to... I've probably used magic numbers in here again, haven't I? Nope, I have got powerline reward threshold. Fantastic. Medieval combat update. Don't tempt me. Genuinely, that was originally a feature that I wanted to have with castles. It was going to be that castles could produce knights, and knights would slay barbarians. So you could like plan to protect your city, and then it became a high score game instead of a city builder. So it's like ended up getting phased out. But I do actually want to bring the castle back in because the castle graphic was really cool. I liked how it looked a lot. Especially because it had a little yellow flag on the top and that waved in the wind. So, you know, maybe we'll see that come back. Maybe we'll see it come back. Let's add in our private void update building data. Data.unique data equals new list. Bang, new stocked coal key, stocked coal, new cooldown key, turns since, of course to string, pop the semicolon on, and then we'll go ahead and plonk this in anywhere where we are updating our stuff. So here. And here. Sweet, that's power station done. Oh, that's something else we need to do actually. I want to have all of the stuff like fully integrated in the game so that, because at the moment, obviously, when I'm sorting all the gubbins, I just go straight ahead and like I click new game and save game and load game all in the inspector. We don't want to do that. We want to start those, we want to fire those off in the game, like when we're pressing our buttons. So we'll go and do those updates as well. The quarry, that it needs some stuff. We are going to have private string, make sure I make it a constant string, stocked coal key. Private const, can't type, const string, mine cooldown key. And this is literally going to be like identical to our power station. It's quite funny. My inner developer is saying to me I should be trying to find a way to make this like not be the same code everywhere. But yeah, it's kind of like, I don't think I can, because there's no, like, yeah, if it was a dictionary, I'd use the key to map to its respective value. It would be a lot more, like, makes me aggy. Cooldown. Then since last mine equals int.pass. Mine cooldown, no. Entry, no, entry dot value, break, and then case coal, stocked coal equals int dot pass, entry dot value, break. Sorry, I was just thinking that doing it this way may create an exploit such that you can just like save and load, save scum basically on like power stations and stuff, and each turn it will increase by 1, and you just like, you start and then you save and then you quit and then you start and then you save and you quit, and every time you load it adds 1 to the thing, but it won't, because that happens at the end of the turn, not at the start of the turn. So I don't have to worry about it. Private void update building data. I should probably just like make this an abstract method so that it forces implementation. I feel like I'm too deep now. I'm too deep. Just let it happen, let it happen. Data.unique data equals new list. Unique data item. New. Stocked coal. Stocked coal dot toString. New. Cooldown. Turn since dot toString. God, typing. No semicolon there. Semicolon goes there. Copy this from here. Go ahead. Paste it everywhere where it needs to be. Yep, that's fine. And then when we activate, we'll also do it here. That's Quarry. So then I think it's just Volcano. Volcano and Windmill. Because the Volcano is like the mountain. So we need to keep track of like if it's erupting currently or not. And then the Windmill is like, yeah, like the trees and stuff. The trees and stuff. So this is going to be eruption cooldown key. Eruption cooldown. Private const. Zonst const. String. That's it. That's it. I just need that. Just the eruption string. Great. Makes life easy. Override our restore state. If entry dot key dot equals eruption cooldown key, then we're going to say our eruption cooldown equals int.parse entry.value. Whoop. And we also then want to do our little check to say the eruption warning particles is what I want to trigger. This. So if we have less than or the same as wait, turn since last eruption. Yeah, if turn since last eruption is greater than or equal to eruption cooldown -3, i.e. there's 3 or less turns until the volcano erupts, we want the smoke to be coming out the top. And I think probably in my toString I want to add some stuff for about it erupting, but I'll handle that later. Private void update building data. Data.unique data equals new list. Unique data item. New cooldown. Turns since .toString. And then we need to call this. Almost forgot, that wouldn't have been ideal. Pop that in there. We are also going to put it in here. And that's it. That is all. Cool. Last one. Windmill. And then we've got half an hour pretty much to implement, or well, to integrate the save system with the whole game, which is cool. So we want a private constant string stock stocked key. Nice and simple. And this is going to be a Boolean. Override our restore state. For each entry, data.unique data. If entry.key.equals our stocked key has stock is equal to bool.parse entry.value. And we're also going to just do some little bits to set up our sales rotator. So we can say sales rotator.set target speed has stock question mark. If it does, it's going to be our speed. Oh god, have I used magic numbers again? I bet you I've used magic numbers. I have 25. 25, otherwise 0. And actually I'm lying, it's going to be the other way around. It's going to be 0 and 25 because the windmill stops spinning when it's got stock. Cool. Private void update building data. Last time I got to type that. Whoop, whoop. What are we going to do? We're going to say data dot unique data equals new list import systems.collection generic unique data item is the type, and we're going to say new, and it's going to be stocked key and has stock, and of course we need to put that as a string. And then finally cool. Update our building data here. So I had to read through to understand my code for a second because I was wondering where things were happening. And then we'll do the same thing here. Update our building data. Fantastic. We have officially made every aspect of Tilelands savable, which is just fantastic. I'm bless up. Now, integrating that with the game. Oh, that's another thing that's probably important to note. I have a sneaking suspicion that probably achievements are going to be broken, or not achievements, sorry, the tile browser is going to be broken, because I was using a string as the ID for tiles, and it's not a string anymore, it's a serializable GUID. So we can see here, even though I've played upwards of 600 hours, maybe 700 hours in Tilelands, I did have all of these unlocked. I now have none of them unlocked, and we also have 3 pages for some reason. So that's a bug that I'm going to have to look into to try and figure out why that's happened. Because it definitely ain't supposed to be like that. Oh dear. That's very interesting. I wonder how I've done that. Don't you just love it when you're like, you're working on something and you think everything's fine, and then for some reason something's broken and you're like, wait a minute, why is it broken? At least it's not a game breaking bug. I can kind of put that on the back burner and we'll be okay. That's fine. Okay, so actually making it so that we can save a game. I think first things first, when we... Okay, first things first, let's close everything in here because we don't need any of this open anymore. I'm going to start off in the actual game scene. So, scenes. Where's my scenes folder? There's my scenes folder, game scene. So, what we've got at the moment is on the game manager, I believe. When we quit, we're just calling game over. I don't want to call game over. Rather, I want to call save and then send us back to the main menu is the vibe. So I need to remember which part of my UI I've done this in. I think it's in the settings pause menu. Yeah, that would make sense. So I've set this up with a modal, and the way that the confirmation modal works is that we give it a callback for confirmation, which is whatever the thing is. So this is going to actually, we're going to rename this to trigger quit game. And rather than changing the game instance to game over, we're going to do save system.instance.save game. And scene loader dot instance dot load scene id dot main menu. So we go back to the main menu. So that gives us game saving. Fantastic. For triggering the restart, we want to do save system dot delete game, so that we don't have the old game saved. And I believe this needs to take a string, doesn't it? Which is going to be save system dot save data file name. And then we're going to do save system dot instance dot new game. And then we're going to load our game scene. Should be as simple as that. That's really nice and easy, actually. we rate that. We rate that. And then in the main menu, I think it's probably going to be pretty similar, that when we press the play button, start game is going to do, we want to do if a save exists. Or perhaps we don't even want to do if a save exists. Maybe we just want to we want to just say new game. And I want to add a restart button that only shows if a save exists. So we'll figure that out. Kind of tired, but you're probably going to leave soon. No worries, Barnacle. You have a good rest of your night. And thank you for the good luck. And I'll see you when I see you. Probably chat to you in the Discord at some point. But yeah, take care. Take care, friend. So when I start game, I want to do save system.instance.new game. I also want to do the save system dot instance dot delete, passing in the save system dot save data file name, which this is just a default save data file name. Like I was saying earlier in the stream, we'll be able to switch this out with different ones depending on the thing that we get into. What I do want to do though is add an additional button. So it's going to be a serialized field private button continue button. So what we probably want to do is in some capacity check to see if loading the game gives us something back. Because when we load, let me pull up my data service implementation real quick to check. Save system, file data service. When I load, yeah, we're just throwing an exception if there's no file there. So what we probably want to do instead is just return, maybe return a new one with no name. I think that might be what I want to do. Rather than throw an exception, we'll just do a console.log warning. Console.log warn, not console.log warning. It's debug.warn log warning. No save data exists with this name. Returning new data, new nameless save. So then we can return new game data. So then in the save system, when we check if it is null or white space, we can actually, let's return a bool here. So if it's null or white space, we'll return false. Otherwise return true. So that way we know our game name is empty, therefore we have no save data. I think that makes sense. That makes sense in my head. So then when we initialize here, we can do a check for if save system dot instance dot load game. Save system dot save data file name. So if we have a file, let's let's store that in a bool. Bool has save equals that. And then we can say if has save, our continue button dot enabled. Well, let's just do game object dot set active. better yet, continue button dot game object dot set active has save, like so. Our continue button dot on click is going to have a listener added, which will be continue game, effectively going to be the same as start game, but rather than deleting our old save, loading a new one, we are going to continue game. We are not going to delete. We're not going to do new game. We're just going to load the scene because we've already loaded the game up here. And we know that it's got stuff in it. And then on the start button, I'm going to leave the start button as is. I think that should be fine. So all we need to do is just in our game manager, when we game over, we want to make sure that we erase the save data. Because we don't want people to be able to have lost and then quit and come back and restart and try and do better. So handle game over, just straight away save system dot instance dot delete, and we'll pass in save system dot save data file name. Sweet. Whoever composed the music for your game is really talented, by the way. This is nice. Honestly, if this music is Minecraft music, I love the Minecraft ambient soundtrack. It's a brilliant video on YouTube. It's like 10 hours long with rain ambience. But I also composed the music for Tilelands. So if you played the game and enjoyed the music in there and the music in the trailer, that's my stuff too. So thank you very much. Now, here's a question. Do we want to make a new game when the game over happens, or do we want to make a new game when the restart button happens? I imagine it's probably going to be when the restart happens. So that means I also need to update my game over menu. Restart button, we're going to go here and we're going to say save system dot instance dot new game. Very nice. And I think that should be good. That should be good. Let's just go back into the main menu and duplicate our buttons. So we are going to what am I doing? Main menu, play game. I'm gonna rename this to new game. Change the text to new game. Whoops. Let's make the whole button bigger, shall we? And this is where the fact that I'm not a UI designer is gonna really shine through. But that's fine, because we're redoing all of the UI anyway. Continue. Move that up in the hierarchy, and let's go ahead and add that continue button to our massive list of callbacks in here. And we should be good. So I'm going to go ahead and just straight up delete delete the save that I've got. Delete game. No, am I going to have to go and do it by hand? I think I might have to. Let me do this over here real quick. Shibadog Studios, where are you? There it is. I was panicking for a second that I had maybe just like deleted my Shibadog Studios folder somehow accidentally. Cool. I'm going to leave that open over here as well so I can see what's going on. And then we're going to hit play. Good, the button's gone. That's good. We have no save data. Let's make a new game. Here's our new game. We're going to put a tree in the middle here. Tree to the right of it there. I'm going to start a field up in this corner. Maybe go like this. We've got 3 tiles left, 2 meadows and a wheat. I'm going to pause. I'm going to end game. I'm sure I want to quit. Our continue button has appeared. I'm going to just stop the game and start it again to make sure that that's definitely doing it. Good, good. We press continue. Okay, that's a bug in the fields. Good to know. Good to know. But oh, and our hand is backwards, isn't it? We're supposed to have 2 meadows and a wheat, not a wheat and 2 meadows. He says, here's where I go and watch the stream and like see if I'm lying to myself. No, I was telling the truth. Our hand has reversed itself. That's interesting. So, good to know though. What I will do now is probably deliberately throw. So there we go, that's fine. Let's go to the main menu. We should see our continue button is gone. Fantastic. That means that it is deleting properly. So our save load is integrated fully. Let's just clean up a couple of those little bugs, shall we? So the field. It's going to be under scripts. Grid system, buildings, field, rested key. We want to set this. We do want to set this to not rested. Rested equals pass of that value. No. See, I'm saying rested to false by default. So if it's just been created, then it's gonna be false. So I do want to set it to rested, and harvest count is equal to 0. Wait, no. Harvest count is less than... Oh, I've used a magic number again, haven't I? Oh, you bugger. Let's fix that. Serialize field, private int, max harvests equals 3. So I want to set it to rested or harvest count is equal to max harvests. Because if we've already got all of the harvests, then it doesn't matter if rested is true or not. We know that it hasn't been chopped down. That's cool. And then let's fix the bug with reversing the hand order when we load, because that ain't right. Player systems, player tile deck, and I think this is probably because I've done like a backwards. Yeah, it's exactly that. I've done a backwards backwards adding of things to the what's it. So we're actually gonna do I is equal to 0, I is less than data.available building IDs.count I plus plus, and then we add them like that. So we should be in the money now with a fully functioning save load system for tile lands, and pretty much perfectly on the 2-hour mark as well, which is fantastic. Good. New game. Oh no! No reference exception. Huh? What's caused that? On grid tile, if data.occupying quest ID is not equal to serializable GUI.empty. I must have not initialized this properly. But why was I not getting that before? Yeah, why was I not getting that before? That's concerning. Let me just look in my... Oh well, let's restart and see if we get the same issue again, because that's very weird. That's very weird. It could well be because... No, we seem to be fine now. We've got wheat fields. I'm gonna plonk those down. Let's pop down our pasture, not pasture, farmhouse there. More wheat fields. Put pasture here, that'll spawn us a quest. So, wheat, pasture, farmhouse. Continue button is present. Oh no, the wheat's still cut down. But we have now got wheat, pasture, farmhouse, so that's right. It's just the fields aren't. Oh dear. So I need to figure out what on earth... Oh, no. I do want it to be harvest count equals 0. Because if we haven't harvested it at all, doy. And best part about this, I can now just stop Unity, press play, and we hit continue. And it's all there. Hey, there we go. Pastures should get points for being next to farmhouses. just like farmhouses get points for being next to pastures. I could really do with a windmill though. I want to test that that's working. Let's make sure this restart button is working as well. Yeah, look at that, new game. And we should also have it such that if I end the game here, it's saved. Press continue. Yeah, we've got our new system. And our hand perfectly. Fantastic. All right. That brings us up to a nice closing point for where I wanted to get to on this stream. So we can call it there. I want to say thank you to everyone for coming and watching. If you liked it, leave a like. If you want to see more stuff like this, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you stay in the loop. If you want to keep seeing updates of stuff that's going on with Tirelands and the new games that I'm making, make sure to join the Discord server. There's a link in the description for that. And until next time,